Hello, cats and kittens. Orewa Jose, Yoroshu. Back in the crisis corner with what I would say is the question amusing. I mean, not amusing like funny, but amusing, a thought. Can villains just be villains nowadays? Can, especially in, I gotta say, especially in the MCU and in general, in entertainment, can we get a villain who is a villain for the sake of being a villain? I'm not talking about like in the slasher movies, yeah, those guys, Pinhead, Michael Myers, well, he probably came up with a way to make himself too, but Freddy, Jason, yeah, they just killing people because that's what they get off on, which is, I'm not going to say that's a good thing, but anyway. But all right, let's go to the MC. All right, now I just throw it out there. I finished Loki. I'm not going to do the review on Loki right now. It had its good points, it had its bad points, but the main thing that irritated me is that they defanged Loki quickly. They it picks up from the end of Avengers, the first Avengers movie, and not by the end of the first. That's the issue. The first episode, he's already reached the end of his redemption arc, basically, which doesn't make any sense to me. The Loki at the end of the first Avengers movie is nowhere near the end of his redemption arc. They speeded it up basically by telling him that he was responsible for his mother's death. He accidentally led the Dark Elf, I forget the guy's name, it was a forgettable movie, but led him to his mother's chambers or whatever, and she got killed. All right, fine. Then after that, he's sobbing in the corner and ready to help Owen Wilson, whichever Wilson brother that is, to help capture a more evil version of himself, who is also extremely redeemable for some reason. Can we get a villain that we can hate and just cheer the hero on to defeat? That's my thing. Between Loki, Thanos, you can go over to Harley Quinn. If you really want to get crazy, you can go to the Fast and the Furious villains, because all of their villains, with the exception of Charlize Theron, wind up eating at their table at the picnic in the end of the episodes. You know what I'm saying? There's this thing nowadays where villains have to be extremely redeemable, which is kind of understanding, but at the same time, again, it's kind of infuriating because it takes the threat level away. Go to Thanos. All right, powerful, yes, but he's basically a misguided economist. You know what I mean? The Thanos, the Thanos of the comics, Marvel didn't think that normies could handle. You know what I mean? He was a mad type, and when you say mad, insane. You know what I mean? He fell in love with death and wanted to offer half the life in existence to her as a present. That's why he wanted the Infinity Gauntlet, to kill half the life of everyone in existence as a present to her. Now, of course, yeah, Marvel maybe thought that was too dark. I didn't think normies could handle it. I'm not going to say that it's wrong in that respect. So they came up with this thing where he's like I say, he's a misguided economist who wants to spread more food to the hungry and whatever. So really, for that whole arc of the Infinity saga, nobody really raised a legitimate point in opposition to him, except for saying you can't do that. Maybe somebody could have said, well, you could make more food, expand the universe so there's more for everybody to eat, do something kind of cool or a little bit, whatever. Maybe he would have said, oh, you're right. Snap his fingers and there'd be more food or whatever. But my point is, you got Harley Quinn. Once a villain becomes popular, they're automatically somehow redeemed so they can get their own franchise. And then they're not threatening anymore, and you got to come up with somebody else, and then they'll get redeemed. And then once people think that they're cool, no matter who they kill, you know what I'm saying? And they'll get their own franchise and on and on and on. I'm talking about the Loki at the end of Avengers was a dude who lanced a man through the back, killed him right on the spot. You know what I mean? A man who rained down terror on New York, killing thousands, no doubt, maybe tens of thousands, with no remorse. He was in his prison cell in Asgard the next time we saw him. You know what I'm saying? And now, once he finds out that, he mistakenly killed his mom, he weeps and then decides to join forces with the TVA to help stop his evil twin or whatever, however that goes. Where's the denial? Why wouldn't he say, well, this TVA is formidable, I'll take over the TVA, go back in time, save my mom, then continue my thing about wanting to take over the universe or whatever. I can use them and right whatever wrong I did, and then also gain the power that I wanted in the first place. That's what villains do. You know what I mean? Dr. Doom, he wanted to save his mom from Mephisto, basically, but he wasn't going to stop there anyway, because once he gained the power to take out Mephisto, he was going to take over everything anyway. What did he do? He went and he took out Galactus, and in turn, after he got Galactus's power, he took out the Beyonder, and he undid himself eventually, but it's because, Doom's he can't close the deal, you know what I'm saying? He's got that arrogance thing that usually upsets him, but he's a villain and he's not easily, turned over or whatever. He don't do face turns that easily. All I'm saying is that it just seeing Loki defanged basically just kind of leaves me empty inside, because he was a pretty good villain at the point at the end of Avengers. Well, he's a pretty good villain, and you need good villains to make good heroes, but if your villains are soft, then what did your hero actually do? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Avengers stopped Thanos, but it'd have been nice if Thanos was a little bit more unhinged or a little bit more villainous to the point where, yeah, killing half the people he didn't actually. It'd be different if he burned them all alive or something. He winked them out of existence, I'm pretty sure that didn't even hurt that much. But my point is, can villains just be villains again? Can villains be like the Joker in the Dark Knight series? Not the series, but in the Dark Knight. Nobody knows exactly why the Joker does what he does or did what he did in that movie. He was unhinged. It made sense to him. Even, well, I'll tell you where Marvel did do a good job was with Killmonger. Okay, he didn't want to be redeemed. He just wanted to get what was his, and that's it. And he'd run roughshod over anybody who stood in his way, and he was eventually going to strike a blow for his people, no matter how many people he had to kill. He had to be stopped. Boom. It's a pretty good villain. Go to the Netflix series, the Kingpin. The best villain in any Marvel property that exists, MCU, whatever. I don't care what you say. That Kingpin was awesome. You know what I'm saying? And yes, he had a backstory that was, uh, what could you say? You understand where he came from based on his backstory, but it didn't excuse the stuff that he did, and neither did he. You know what I'm saying? He didn't say I'm doing this so that to better this. This is all personal stuff. That everything that he did was for him, essentially, and it was deplorable. You know what I mean? For lack of a better word. Can we get some villains like that? Threatening, fierce, and not so redeemable that you know, like, you eventually start pulling for. You know what I mean? Which basically leaves your heroes hanging in the wind because they're not that interesting anymore. In my impression, that's just my thought. Let me know what you think. But I want some more kingpins, man. I want some more killmongers. I want some more, you know, just some baddies. You know, some cats that you can, you know, hate, you know, flat out, and they don't get their own series. You know what I mean? Let me know what you think. It's just amusing, just a thought. And I'll hit you back later with some more content and interesting thoughts. So until then, this is Jose in the Crisis Corner. I'm out. Stay loose.